Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this. I will tell you this though, and I'm going to pivot to who won Feast Week because I think Marquette to me was the biggest winner out of Feast Week, and this is my argument why, even though they lost. I don't know how many people viewed them as like a legitimate national title contender heading into the Maui Invitational, right? I think most people probably felt that they would lose to Kansas. I think most people probably looked at them and said, hey, this is the team that lost to Michigan State. This is the team that got beat in the second round of the tournament. This is Marquette. This is Shaka. They don't make deep runs, blah, 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 whatever. They beat the brakes off a really good Kansas team. Before anyone says anything, Kansas has a win over Kentucky. Kansas has a win over Tennessee, which are two top 10 teams. Kansas is missing one player. Like they probably need to figure out what they're doing in the 2 spot, but they're still Bill Self. There's still Hunter Dickinson. There's still DeJuan Harris, and they have a lot of good wins. And Marquette just handled them easily. Then they go and they take on a Purdue team where Purdue made 9 of the first 11 threes, including a 3-quarter court shot. And Marquette found a way to have the ball with a chance to tie at the end of regulation. I thought they were very, very impressive. I thought that they basically played the best team in college basketball to a 1-possession game. They can win a national title, T.O. To me, that was the biggest winner, is that they proved to everyone they can win a national title.
Yeah. And they can score on any given night. And they've got so many guys that can do it, even on nights where Tyler Kolek is in foul trouble or something like that. Or David Joplin steps up one night. The next day, it's Cam Jones starting things off with a flurry. And then Chase Ross has to play well the next game in order for them to kind of keep going. There's just so much scoring on that team. And I love the fact that they switch so many things up. And I'm telling you that the unsung guy for that team is Oso Ighodaro, man. Like, he just figures it out for you. He's able to guard. Your offense stagnates. He pops right up there to the elbow, and then they're right into what they do. They're so incredibly difficult to defend because they hardly ever call set plays.
Mm-hmm.
And in the modern college game, that is not necessarily the case. In the Big East, that is not necessarily the case. There's a lot of set plays called, and it's really difficult to scout. You just have to be extremely fundamentally sound for the entire 30 seconds, and that's extremely difficult for young people to do. They're running an NBA offense because they have a 5-man in Ighodaro that can just make decisions, and they never get stuck. That's the most befuddling thing. They never get stuck. There's always an exit. There's always a point of they can always enter into what they want to do, and then things just start to flow organically on their own. And they have guards that are willing to let it go. Like Tyler Kolek, I can't tell you how many times I've seen him get the ball on an inbounds pass and just throw it cross court because Cam Jones is over there. And for no other reason than the ball changes sides of the floor. Cam hasn't touched it in a couple of possessions. I'm just going to let him dribble it up. They're so smart, so unselfish. And Ighodaro is kind of the unsung guy there.
Yep.
They are a momentum-based team in that when they get one, it trickles.
Sure.
So the hardest game for them to play in was the UCLA game. You know why? Everybody expected them to win that game and that they would have it. But you're facing a Mick Cronin team at full strength that's upset-minded and that's going to play their asses off. And by the way, I was really impressed with Sebastian Mack. I was impressed with Andrews. And I thought UCLA looked really good in that game, and we talked about it last week, and their upside's there. But once Marquette got through that, guys, it tells us everything we need to know that Tyler Kolek shot 3 for 9. He turned the ball over 4 times. He did not play well against Kansas, and Marquette won by 14. Part of the reason why Marquette is a national championship contender is that last year they needed Kolek and Omax Prosper and Cam Jones to be great, to beat the best. This team's deeper. And Shaka Smart's willingness to play his guys, some reserves, in tough spots was huge this week. I think Sean Jones is very much improved and much more comfortable at making the right plays. I thought that he had a really nice showing this past week. Chase Ross defensively adds something. He's gotten better offensively. He had 12 and 6 in the win over Kansas. Jones and Ross, and as Ben Gold continues to figure it out, but even the freshmen, Trey Norman and Zayd Lowry, there's potential there. The fact is, For Kolek to only make 3 shots and turn the ball over 4 times against Kansas, if we talked about that before the game, you would have said, how much did Kansas win by and what did DeJuan Harris do? Marquette didn't win. They commanded Kansas. And against Purdue, you go down, right, Terrence and Rob, you go down in a game to Purdue. In my head, I'm thinking, God, what do I have to do from 3 to get back in the game? Like, how many threes do I have to make to get back in the game? Marquette shot 5 for 17 from 3 against Purdue. And they were right there at the end. You know why? Kolek and Jones, their ability to drive the lane and be patient. They didn't always go up to score. They'd sometimes take you in a figure 8, roll right around back to the center of the key, and then deliver a pass or go up with a shot. But the biggest revelation of this past week for Marquette was Oso Ighodaro.
He's a monster, man.
He showed he's one of the best bigs in the country.
He's a monster. All right, so I had Marquette as the biggest winner of Feast Week. Who did you guys have?
I had Villanova. Congratulations to Kyle Neptune, man. And then how about Villanova being 9-0 in that event all time?
Yeah.
Like those guys aren't at the craps tables. Those guys aren't at the craps tables. Chris Mack told a great story with you the other day, Fanta, where like a team they were going to play, their players were out playing craps until 4 a.m.
Yes.
And then he comes out and hits 6 threes. Villanova's not out there.
Hey, did you see Alan Ray's tweet and Colin Gillespie's tweet? They were talking about how like there was they wouldn't be able to go out when they were on those events, and Colin Gillespie was like, yeah, we used to have a plan. Me and Phil Booth, we would bring an iPad, that iPad would get confiscated, and then we would pull out the back out iPad that we could have when we were on the trips, because Jay Wright would take their phones and iPads and stuff to make them like interact, so they would always have the backup technology to be able to use when they were on those trips.
Bad culture, guys. No, it's amazing like what talent will do. And you know what? There's a couple times during their game. Fanta, which game was it that we were talking about? And I was like, why in the world have they not called the timeout?
Carolina.
It was against Carolina because Carolina was getting that ball out of the net and they were pushing it and they were getting layups. It was fast. And it was like, it really felt that momentum kind of got in Carolina. It went in Carolina's favor, and they didn't call timeouts, and they just kind of let their guys figure it out from there. It was unique. It was fun. They're huge. TJ Bamba fits Villanova. Tyler Burton fits Villanova. Mm-hmm. And I remember a couple of years ago, Villanova played at UCLA, and the biggest concern for Villanova fans was, do we really have something at the 5 with Eric Dixon? He's undersized. He does all this. And I'm sitting there watching. I was like, guys, he's not flashy. He doesn't do a ton, but the sucker's never in the wrong spot defensive. He's never in the wrong spot. And he's so physical when he plays. He's undersized. He's long, but he's not going to yell at you, but he's just going to be in the right spot. He has improved. He's shooting runaway threes, and he adds another dimension to Villanova at that 5 spot, to where now they're even more wide open, to where more than they've ever been. So look, they're playing well. They're moving the ball well. They're like sized, so it provides a lot of switching opportunities. And every one of those Villanova dudes looks like, they could play wide receiver in NFL, like as far as body size is concerned, because they're big, they're strong, they're switchable. Talent helps. And whenever you play a system like Villanova plays, which is the same system Jay Wright had, when you play that system, it's more so, let me get the right guys with the ball in their hands, and then let's create closeouts. And now that Dixon's making shots, buddy, like they are difficult to guard. And I thought this was a huge weekend, not just for the program Villanova, but for Kyle Neptune to be able to get that 3 in 3 days. I thought it was tremendous.
If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use the bonus code FIELD200 and you will receive $200 in bonus bets instantly when placing your first wager of at least $10 with BetMGM. Here's what you got to do. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FIELD200. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game regardless of sport. You will receive $200 in bonus bets regardless of the outcome of your wager. Just make sure that you use the bonus code FIELD200 when you sign up. And remember, BetMGM is now available under one wallet in select states. As a New Jersey resident, this is super convenient for me when I have to go cover games in New York or Philly. When crossing state borders, just log into your existing account instead of having to create new accounts in each state that you go to. And most importantly, I got to let you know, we do have some fun stuff coming up for this college basketball season. Bet insurance tokens, college hoops odds boosts, my personal favorite, parlay odds boosts. So download the BetMGM app today.
Got to give them their flowers.
So a Big East head coach texted me last night. Very surprising. And it wasn't from one of the bottom teams in the league. Wasn't even from a former Field of 68 cast member who's now a Big East head coach. It was from a random head coach in the league who texted me late last night and said, I'm watching Villanova. Oh no, ... They found it.
Yep.
Glad we got them last year. They found it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Hope you got your Villanova jokes out of the way last year. Talent wins.
Yes.
And they cleaned up in the transfer portal. They spent in and around $3 million on the roster. That's been reported. Mike Jensen had that in a Philadelphia Inquirer report. That's not news, but if you haven't heard it, yeah, Villanova, they had to make drastic changes because the expectation is that they're going to make deep NCAA tournament runs. It should be when you've won national titles in 2016 and 2018. Dixon was phenomenal. They're balanced. The win over Memphis never stood a chance in that game. But the win over
Memphis, man. Memphis, how about this? I've never seen this before, Fanta. Memphis went on a 21-0 run. And at the end of the run, they were still down by 14 points.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about that. So agree with you. That's how the Villanova Maryland game went.
Yeah.
Maryland at one point had gone on like a 16-0 run. They were within 20. So Villanova lost to Penn, and in the ensuing 11 days, racked up 4 wins over top 60 KenPom teams, dog-walked Maryland and Memphis, beat Carolina. Like, if you actually look at the Big East and you look at the quantification of wins, Villanova has the most quality wins in the league.
Yep.
The most.
Yep.
Okay, Marquette's got the best one. My winner, though, is not in the Big East. Okay? My winner is in the Big 12. Oklahoma. The Sooners won the Rady Children's Invitational. Porter Moser's team was picked to finish 12th. 12th in the 14-team Big 12. A massive win over USC in which Otego-Oweh comes up with a game-winning putback just shy of the buzzer to win the Sooners the game. This is after a game in which they D'd up Iowa. They defended the hell out of Iowa. Iowa could not hit a shot, but Iowa was capable. Oklahoma defended really well. And as we wake up this morning, the team that was picked to finish 12th in the Big 12 has a right to be in that top 25. They're KenPom 23rd. They're top 33 in offense and defense. And guys, by having a couple of sophomores, okay, Milo Suzan, Otego-Oweh, but by cleaning up in the transfer portal, John Hughley was a good player at Pitt. Like, John Hughley had a very good run at Pittsburgh. That was a really nice pickup. He's physical. He makes plays. He's a winner. He defends. And Javian McCullum, very quietly, was a bucket getter at Siena. McCullum had a really nice run for Carmen Massarello and Siena. That was a great get, a very quietly great get by Porter Moser. But this is one of Moser's best coaching jobs. Will it sustain? Will it last the whole year?
I think it will. You know what I wrote down for them, Fanta?
I like them. They're a winner.
I wrote down, they give me some Arizona vibes in the sense that you have a really good coach that went out and got more athletic, but got more versatile. He added, you mentioned McCullum. I think a big one was getting Jalen Moore from, was it Georgia Tech, right, T.O.? He was at Georgia Tech? I think he was at Georgia Tech.
It was at Georgia Tech. Sophomore last
Georgia Tech. Yeah.
85.
Did you say Virginia Tech or Georgia Tech? Yeah, Georgia Tech.
Georgia Tech.
Yeah,
so
6'5".
Yeah. They got more athletic. They're more switchable. They got some more shot makers. And here's the most impressive part. Otego-Oweh is definitely taking a step forward. Yes. Everybody thought in the offseason that Milos Uzan was going to be the biggest breakout star in that program. And we haven't even seen him really kind of figure it out this year. I'm in on Oklahoma as a as a tournament team.
And the Big 12 has shown in the first 3 weeks that they're number one, and there's not even a debate for it. I mean, there's not, guys. There's not. Guys, they have 8 teams in the top 31 of KenPom.
So does the SEC. That's the only argument I'd make. And look, I probably would lean towards the Big 12, but I think that if I really wanted to, I can make an argument the SEC is the second best. All right.
Oh, I think you're right. I think you're right on that.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm sorry that I can make an argument the SEC is the best, but I agree that it's the Big 12. And then I also think it's like those are the top 2. We don't need to get in that argument again. We don't need to go down. We don't need to rank the bench conferences again. All right, let's go to
the SEC has a clear bottom though. The SEC, like the Big 12, the worst team right now in the Big 12 analytically.
UCF.
Yeah, is UCF, who's down in a bad way.
Yeah, they're down bad.
In the first field of 68 tip-off, 3 of the preeminent mid-major programs in the country, 3 of the best coaches. November 30th, Liberty versus FAU. December 1st, Liberty versus Charleston. December 2nd, Charleston versus FAU.
3 up-and-coming programs come together in a very, very creative entity.
There's a reason we're called the Field of 68, right? We want to cover all of college basketball.
We are calling it the Field of 68 tip-off.